Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. How would you handle a friend who always appears to be in a crisis mode that always tells you their issues? I've had to slowly end friendships or distance myself from people like this. They can be draining. At the end of the day, it's their responsibility to seek help if they need it. Having someone constantly in crisis does nothing but cause unnecessary chaos in my own life. You have to decide if you're okay being the person they vent to. Honestly, even in therapy and on meds, I need to talk to friends a lot, so if one of my friends wasn't okay with it, they'd have to tell me. Obviously, you want a relationship to be fun and reciprocal, so if I were the friend, I'd want to know that you're feeling overwhelmed or like it's too much. But also, if they really are in crisis mode, they probably aren't trying to alienate you. I get phone calls usually 5 to 7 times a day from mine. It's exhausting for sure. It puts so much negative energy on me. I feel like I'm in the same boat a lot of the time. I feel like it's my life too. I can't keep up. We're both not working because of COVID, and it's making me want to take on 2 full-time jobs. I usually just start doing something else while I'm on the phone and tell her I have to go. She knows she's overbearing but just always needs attention. I have cut her out before and was finally able to relax. But it's like an all-or-nothing kind of friendship for her. I developed boundaries at one point, but I feel as if they have been torn down now. I guess I need advice on this as well. If this was someone I could not or would not want to cut out of my life completely, I would try to discourage therapy interactions with them. My favorite thing to do when they try to make their problems my problems is to ask them, "Wow, what are you going to do about that?" It expresses the correct amount of sympathy without accepting any responsibility for their crisis. They will eventually stop coming to you for whatever it is that they need. I made an assumption about what they're using you for if you stop supplying it. I have a work colleague who is a single mother and always complained that life is hard and is always negative. And all advice that I gave her, she ignored. It's like, woman, stop whinging if you don't plan to change anything. She's the kind of person who thinks that the whole world is against her, and that everyone has a secret agenda and out to get her. My last straw is when we had a counselor come to our workplace for a general well-being course, and in front of everyone she proudly says, "I'm resilient, I can bounce back quickly." At the end I ignored her, and I moved out of the team. Now I hear from other people that she's still the same, non-stop complaining, and she's like toxic, bringing down the team with her negative attitude. Too many unnecessary drama, it's tiring. I was very kind and empathetic for about 3 years, then finally had to walk away when I realized that literally everything was all about her. Being around her felt like she was sucking the life out of me. I've always been the type of person who others verbally vomit their problems to. Now that I'm older, I've had enough. Unless a friendship is 50-50, I'm out of there. I feel like, at times or seasons of my life, I've been the friend you are describing. I felt so bad for constantly venting or bringing my negativity to my friends. With that being said, I've been the friend to listen also. Any type of relationship, not just a romantic one, is a give and take. If you feel like the friendship is too draining, it's okay to communicate that to your friend. Lack of communication can cause hurt feelings and leaves room for assumptions. During my times of crisis, I just needed someone to vent to listen, and to just care. I wasn't looking for anyone to solve my problems, but was always open for feedback and advice. If you feel like your friend needs help and is in a possible life-threatening place mentally, you need to strongly encourage your friend to seek mental health, and that you are concerned that their issues need professional intervention. I get how it can be draining, trust me, I get it. But for whatever reason you became friends with this person, and they are leaning on you right now. Boundaries. I had a friend like this, and it was draining, exhausting, and ultimately toxic. She was also my roommate, which meant I was getting bombarded with her drama 24/7. I was as caring and as patient as possible for 2.5 years, but by the end, I felt so taken advantage of that I stopped contact and moved out. It was a painful experience, but I felt so much lighter after doing so. Friendships like that can become draining and toxic fast, so I would advise to tread carefully. I think it depends on the duration and what they are doing to help themselves. Some people genuinely get stuck in a hard patch. Others are just there to vent and don't try to better their situation. If they are working towards getting themselves out and working to improve themselves, I do try to help and listen. If they don't give two shits about it, then bye. My friend and I have a thing for making boundaries with each other. If one of us isn't in the mind space for it, we simply tell the other, hey, I want to be able to be here for you, but my mental isn't capable of it right now. If you'd like to write it down somewhere instead, we can revisit. Insert time period. It just takes understanding of boundaries between you both. I had a friend like this for several years, and when she got worse, I quitted the relationship. However, mine was a slightly different case. She would call and vent/rant/cry about her family/friends/boyfriend etc. Then an hour or two later, she would share a Insta story of partying/enjoying whatever social activity she's doing. It was as if I just talked to another person. Whatever she was telling me was making me feel bad and giving me negative energy, but she was continuing to live her life after letting out her negativeness. Then I stopped answering her. The distance worked at that time. She couldn't reach out to me, so she would consult other friends to do so. When they also didn't tell anything about me, she went mad and started cursing on me through chat. Finally, I answered and told what I felt and thought. She played the innocent OFC. I didn't care at that moment anymore, so how she felt meant nothing for me. I dealt with her BS enough for all those years, and it was time to give it a stop. Never regretted a bit, smiley face. This is where they are most comfortable, where they like to live. If you don't want to be there, then you need to distance yourself. They are not going anywhere. You have to establish and maintain boundaries with these relationships. It's great that someone trusts you enough to be their go-to, but it's also okay to say you aren't able to carry them through every crisis. Boundaries are hard, but they're worth it if you're willing to do the work. You have to set boundaries with them and explain why. Don't beat around the bush trying to save their feelings because you matter too here. You are allowed to tell your friends you cannot take on their emotions. You are allowed to set those boundaries for yourself. It does not make you any less of a friend. Some people need to realize they cannot treat their friends like therapists. There are many emotions that are just too heavy to bring onto others. Every friendship is different, and it's important to discuss what is and isn't emotional labor for each person. Some friends can take on more than others. And that's great if they consent to it. It's so vital to communicate in these situations. I know it's hard to put boundaries down with someone who feels they need to vent to you, but if they cannot respect your wishes, then they aren't that great of a friend in the first place. And just affirms they need therapy. You say they make everything about them. Well, having been in crisis mode for long periods in the past, I have seen the effects it's had on the people around me and my own self-esteem. You are close, so you need to tell them what's happening isn't just to them, it's to everyone around them. Could I suggest giving them the option to send you a weekly email? And both try your best to keep going. Let's hope your friend bounces back. Distance myself. Negative energy is contagious, and I'm going to always consider my mental health and well-being before any type of friendship, relationship, etc. I will lend a listening ear and support whenever they need it, but to an extent. Especially if they constantly complain about a situation that could easily be fixed with effort, but they just choose not to act on it for whatever reason. One can only pour but so much into others from their own cup before they themselves run dry and unable to even help themselves. Then it's probably a toxic relationship. I was in a similar situation and decided to distance myself because the other person was getting very passive-aggressive about boundaries I tried setting with them. There's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself, and if you need distance from this person, then you are definitely not a bad person or friend. Your friend needs to learn that their issues are their responsibility, not the responsibility of others. You can respond with "I'm sorry you're going through this. I know you'll make it through." Then exit the conversation. Or if you'd like to, continue with "I also am going through some major stuff that I'd like to share with a friend." Make her share the comfort of friendship instead of just taking. If she can't, end it and explain you need to be surrounded by more supportive, positive friends. I've been having a friend like this for the past 18 years. All the wrong choices? She made them. Another friend and I did everything possible to support her. We were a wonderful trio, up until the friend in question went away to do some crap, then always came back in shambles. Nothing we ever tried has helped her make better choices. It's like she's a magnet for trouble. When we made our way through life, my other friend had to drop her because of her illegal activity, but still cares for her. I still maintain low contact because I care about her, but it's hard to see and it has affected my mental health. It's like a bad movie where you scream at the TV, "Stop, just stop. Don't do that. OMG, no." It's hard to not lecture her, and why should I put myself in this posture? If our thinking and way of life became so different, maybe it's time to distance. I'll still offer her a shoulder, but made firm boundaries so I don't get affected anymore. I miss the good parts of her, but her ignorance overshadows all. That's tough, definitely. As much as you are willing, be there for that friend. You won't be able to force them into therapy, so right now you can only offer them love and support, but don't be afraid to set boundaries to protect your own emotional energy. A lot of the times, they may be in this mode because it's all they've known. Often they're lacking in the awareness of their own issues, in contrast to yourself, who might better be able to not only see your own struggles but theirs as well much more clearly. And it's absolutely okay to feel some empathy towards them as they struggle with that lack of awareness. It could also be a lack of resources, and they feel safe with you. However, you can't be their solo sounding board, on call 24/7. And you may start to find that as you grow and gain awareness, the things you have in common with them become less and less. As selfish as it sounds, what are you gaining from that friendship? It's okay that you need some fulfillment out of a relationship too. I have a longtime friend like this. I have struggled for years on how to handle it. After another incident a month or so ago where I realized she really does not check in to hear me, but rather only when she needs to be heard, I left. I'm not saying it's the best way to go about it, but it's okay to end it on your terms. My therapist explained it as though your social circle is an orchestra and you are the conductor. The closest are in the front and the acquaintances are in the back. More of them make up the audience. And sometimes, you'll have to ask people to leave the theater entirely. I hope you are able to navigate this in a way that feels right for you. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.